Hello, hello, and welcome, my beauties and bees, to another installment of Cryptic Corner, where we explore entities of the unexplained, the supernatural, the paranormal and hidden, the mysterious, the alien, the accursed, and the forbidden. I'm your host, Miss Bumblebee. And we are here live Saturday morning. If you want to join us, we're here every Saturday morning on Live from the Hive, where our opening segment is Cryptic Corner. So if you want to take part in exploring the world of cryptids, ghosts, aliens, and more, come on over and hang out. And you can be part of this this funky, fresh side chat scrolling by over here, talking about all kinds of fun stuff. And speaking of fun stuff, today we got some fun stuff because it is right now it's March, a week before St. Patrick's Day. Is actually 2 weeks still. We're still 2 weeks off. It's the 8th. St. Patrick's Day is the 17th, but we actually did get a fairy episode. So lo and behold, people have voted, and we are going to be talking about the Redcap. Now, when it comes to Redcap folklore, there's a primary entity, but he has a couple different names, and we'll discuss that as the show goes on. But as you all know, I don't like to discuss this stuff solo, so I always like to find a channel, especially a channel with a believer, someone who's presenting the case as something that was real and actually existed. Even if the person behind the channel is not really taking that position, even if they're just telling the story as if it's real, that's the main protocol. I need something I can snark at, because that's a little bit of what I do. Is I snark at the paranormal explanations that people come up with. So if you like that, then come back. That's what we do here. But I do have a extensive background doing paranormal investigations. Throughout my late teens and early 20s, actually, did a lot of paranormal investigations, and even hyper focused on a few locations over a long period of time to do research and study on phenomena that happened there, and come up with my own theories over the years since. But it does. Redcap, is that a MAGA cryptid? Oh my gosh, yes. How convenient. I should use that as the thumbnail. People will click on that. Make a Trump-looking Redcap. Anyway, but I digress. Yeah, this is unfortunately these are not, or say maybe fortunately, they're not American Redcaps, but Scottish Redcaps. But we're having the White Light tell us about them. The White Light, let's see, we aren't monetized, so consider leaving our team a small tip to support the channel's growth. Thank you. Stories that take you to the brink. Yeah, you're not going to be monetized. 280 subscribers, of course not. But, I didn't mean to do that. We don't need to watch your Loch Ness video. I've covered Loch Ness, but I was meaning to click here. They have videos on a lot of conspiracies. They've only been around for a few months now, but they got videos on conspiracies and horrors and history, all sorts of stuff. But today we're watching the legend of the evil Scottish lord and his Redcap goblin. So let's jump in.
Deep in the heart of the borderlands between Scotland and England, among the ruins of ancient castles and...
Audio looks all right. I'm peeking a bit, aren't I? Let's bring me down a little bit. And we'll see if that...
Forgotten fortresses.
Yeah, there
there
we go.
lurk creatures of terrifying legend. Known as Redcaps, these malevolent goblins are not just tricksters, but bloodthirsty hunters who have haunted folklore for centuries. Stories of these sinister beings have been passed down through generations, painting a picture of a dark and dangerous presence tied to this historically violent region. The borderlands have long been a place of conflict, with countless battles fought over its rugged terrain. These lands were home to not only armies and raiders, but...
Yay, it's a spoopy day. It is a spoopy day. Miss Non Sequitur. There's everybody. I was wondering where everybody was this morning. Y'all missed my morning spiel. Only a handful of people got to listen to me ramble about yeah, I started a new job and stuff, so I'll talk about it at the end maybe if I'm feeling peppy enough. Right now, I'm sort of tired. Good morning, simply secular Dave. Everybody's popping in now. It's good to see y'all. Is Chris wrapping up? Is that what we're doing? Is Mr. Mallard going to grace us with his presence this morning? I was over there while I was doing my makeup before the show. Shoot, I only just arrived and now I have to go. I saved this for later. Thank you for doing this, Hive. So, yeah.
But something far more sinister. Redcaps are said to inhabit the decaying remnants of castles, waiting for unsuspecting travellers who seek shelter within their crumbling walls.
Wait.
Before we continue, consider liking the video and subscribing to our channel.
You know
We're
what?
new here on YouTube.
For creating content for me, no matter how I feel about the video, again, I'm giving you a thumbs up, and I might leave a comment. So, yeah, hit me.
But we'll be bringing you many more stories like this in the future. Thank you.
Good.
So, what exactly are redcaps? These creatures are described as a particularly fearsome type of goblin found in the folklore.
I looked for a red hat. I don't have one. You know, for obvious reasons, being in the U.S., I don't have any hats that are red. I used to when I was younger. I'd wear this really cute, it was Marlboro cigarettes hat, but it was sentimental because it was the one my dad wore when he hitchhiked to Phoenix, Arizona. And but I'd wear it backwards, and it looked so cute. I wish I still had it. I don't know whatever happened to it.
Of northern England.
That's the closest thing I've ever had to a real red cap. Mallard's feeding his wife. I think that the wife, as she's known, would enjoy learning about red caps over her meal.
England and southern Scotland. Unlike many other goblins or trickster spirits, redcaps are not mischievous. No, they are murderous. They take their name from their most horrifying trait, the blood-soaked cap they wear on their heads. Legends say these caps are stained with the blood of their victims, and if the blood were to dry, the red cap would perish. Physically, redcaps are said to be small in stature.
A mushroom hat would have been perfect for this too. I think I have a picture of me wearing a mushroom hat somewhere in my photos.
Resembling stout, elderly men. But don't let their size fool you. They are far from harmless. With fiery red eyes, sharp teeth, and long claw-like fingers, they...
What is this? Like, none of this looks like a red cap to me. This is AI stuff, and a lot of these channels use AI. I'm not AI shaming. It's like, to me, with the AI stuff, it sucks for being an artist, and you know, I've tried art. I've been a musician. You all know that. I still play, but I can't play as good as an AI robot. I know that. But doesn't mean I think that AI music doesn't have a place in the world, because technology is going to advance. We have that going on. But this doesn't look like a red cap to me. It looks like, what would you say this is? Like a Nimrigan, or Nimrigan, I can't remember how it's pronounced. The North American wild men. Like remember we talked about this? Somebody dropped the link for this one too. The San Pedro Mountain Mummy. It looks like that species, right? Especially with these eyes. I love the eyes on this thing. But when I think of red cap, I guess I think of red eyes, or maybe like, since it's Scottish, like blue eyes. Because Scottish people tend to have blue eyes, like our friend Stephanie. She has Scottish ancestry and the bluest eyes.
Strike fear into anyone unlucky enough to cross their path. They move quickly, despite the heavy iron boots they wear, which adds to their terrifying ability to chase down prey. These goblins are known to haunt the ruins of castles, especially those with a history of violence or...
You prefer Yoshi? I prefer Birdo. Birdo's my go-to for Mario characters. Optimally, we'd have Peach riding Birdo, like Mario rides Yoshi. That's just my preferences, though. Tree guy was hot. Birdie B, hello, my friend. We did a fundraiser, by the way. Can you let me give you? Can't believe you don't have a wrench. Let me give you a wrench. Will you drop the link to Kat's fundraiser? I'm making you a managing mod just so you can do that. Please, our friend Kat just they did get a place, which is great. But we did a fundraiser trying to help them get kind of settled. So any little bit helped. Yes, Birdo is my go-to. Absolutely. Luigi is everyone's favorite for some reason. Yeah, that's a more recent development, though. Luigi was in the Shadow Player 2, as the case may be. That was his legacy until recently. Yeah, I would, I can be Birdo and then let Luigi ride me. Then get a Yoshi hat or get a Yoshi rider costume.
Tyranny. Travelers who seek shelter in these forgotten fortresses are the Redcap.
I did wear a red top. I did. So I got that. Got my like Vampirella top too. I always think that this one looks like, when I look at it just from the tits up, I look like I'm wearing Vampirella's suit to me. I don't know. Without the white collar, I guess.
Perfect targets. Armed with iron pikes or scythes, these creatures attack swiftly, leaving little chance for escape. The stone walls of these ancient ruins serve not as protection, but as the very lairs where redcaps await their next victim. The tales often describe how these goblins...
That one's huge. He's been eating good. Where's that castle? Must have a lot of wayward travelers.
...ambush unsuspecting travelers, using their immense strength to hurl heavy stones from high walls, or running their victims through with iron pikes. Once their prey is slain, the redcaps would soak their caps in fresh blood to ensure they never dry out. The drying of the blood, it is said...
Ooh, that one looks like it sampled maybe Smeagol from Lord of the Rings, but it really doesn't look like blood as much as ketchup on the hat, but I digress.
...would mean their own death. These stories reflect the violent history of the region, where wars, raids, and feuds were common.
Still a week behind there.
The Redcap legend acted as both a supernatural warning and a cautionary tale, urging them to stay away from lonely, abandoned places where danger of both man and goblin might be lurking. While redcaps are fearsome and deadly, folklore offers a few ways to defend yourself if you ever find yourself face to face with one. These goblins, though fast and powerful, can be driven away by the power of faith. The most common defense is to recite passages from the Bible. Even a single verse can send a redcap fleeing in...
I caught him up. I know lots of verses from the Bible, though. What's that redcap going to do when I start talking about his emissions, though? What if I start talking about Lot's daughter seducing him in a cave? Is the redcap just going to get uncomfortable and leave?
Fear. Alternatively, holding up a cross or crucifix is said to be equally effective.
This is Catholic propaganda from the Middle Ages. For the same reason vampires are repelled by crosses. It's church propaganda. But yeah, I guess I should specify that redcaps were I guess what would you call it? Is it still Roman Catholic after the fall of Rome in the UK? I think it is, yeah. And then Eastern Orthodox for vampires. But it's all the same stuff. It's like depend on the church to protect you from everything that scares you in the dark.
Forcing the creature to retreat. If you're successful in warding one off, the redcap doesn't simply vanish. According to legend, it disappears with a furious scream, often in a burst of flames. All that remains afterward is a single, large tooth, left behind as a grim reminder of how close you came to meeting your end. But beware, this is no easy feat, and it's always better to avoid these goblins altogether if you can. Among the many tales of...
So, I always adored Rose Gold Peach. Okay? I'm reading the comments. People are going to watch this, be like, clicking on it, and be like, a video about redcaps. And then they get in here, and it's going to be like... me rambling about my favorite Mario characters. Like, I like Princess Peach. And no, I was just gonna say, I wish they had a rose gold. I wish they had a rose gold Birdo. That would be cool. That would be cool. Let's see, William D. Solis. Let's look at this guy real quick, because he's coming up. All right, so William the Second, De Solis. I guess that's how you say that. I'm not actually 100% sure. He was the butler of Scotland, Scottish border noble during the wars of Scottish independence. William was the elder son of Nicholas II. So yeah, of course. And then you think about the British have folklore about Scottish rulers, having demonic familiars. Scottish border folklore maintains that a Sulis was involved in the black arts, being schooled with Michael Scott, not Michael Scott from the Office, a different Michael Scott, the Wizard of the North. Sir Walter Scott made this Lord Sulis Sir William and gave him a familiar called Robin Redcap. And some people call him Redcap Sly. In his work, The Minstrelsy of the Scottish Border. In retaliation for a long history of cruelty, locals boiled this Lord Solis alive at Ninestane Rig. And the more likely culprit would have been Sir Randolph de Solis of Lytle, 1150, murdered by his servant in 1207 or 1208. Well, he's pretty young when he was murdered then, 17 or 18 years old. Hot damn. That servant took him out early. Sulis is also said to have defeated the Northumbrian giant, the Cút o Kielder, the giant wore an enchanted armor that was impervious to any weapon, but the wizard tricked the giant by knocking him into a river where he drowned. The water is known as the drowning pool today. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Okay. There is a large burial mound near Hermitage Castle, said to be the final resting place of the Cút. All right, so he's a giant slayer and fairy tamer, all this good stuff, and a border czar, as they call them these days. If you wanted to know who this gentleman was here that they're talking about. So, that's the history. So, putting things in the proper framework for you.
Of Redcaps, one of the most infamous is the story of Lord William de Sully and his sinister familiar
There you
Robin.
go, de Sully. The S is silent. Who knew? You all probably knew and are giggling. But again, like I've said a million times, I love to try to pronounce things that I'm not sure how to pronounce, get corrected, and then we can all learn. And I get to be the one that's silly up here saying the silly things. And I'm encouraging other people to try to enunciate things, try to pronounce things correctly, and to keep attempting.
In Redcap. Lord Sulis was no ordinary noble. He was known for his dark practices.
Wait, did you use a different pronunciation there? Did you use two different pronunciations?
Is the story of Lord William de Sully and his sinister familiar Robin Redcap. Lord Sulis was no ordinary noble.
Ooh, you did. You switched within like 5 words of each other. You used 2 different pronunciations, and now I don't know.
He was known for his dark practices, dabbling in sorcery and black magic. His castle, Hermitage Castle in Scotland, became the centre of eerie legends, where locals spoke of strange occurrences and whispered rumours of his evil deeds. According to legend, Lord Sulis summoned Robin Redcap to be his personal servant, a powerful and malevolent goblin who aided him in his cruel and violent reign. Robin was feared throughout the land, and with his help, Sulis became nearly invincible. It was said that Robin Redcap had cast a spell on his master, making him immune to weapons of iron and steel. Arrows, swords, and lances were useless against him, and even hanging could not kill him. With such protections in place, Sulis grew bolder.
Sulasi. I want to have wizard powers. How come that can't be real? Something you can really do. I'd be like Scarlet Witch. Check it out. I kind of have the hair too. Like my hair's really close to the right color. I just need the thing. I don't have that, but I do have like the vampire thing to go over my neck. I could be Scarlet Witch though. Come on.
In his tyranny, unleashing terror on those living under his rule. But the legend doesn't end
Yes,
there.
Glinda was the good witch of the north. That's true. But apparently, this guy... Oh, hold on. There we go. Gotta pull that back out of there. This guy had a teacher who was also a witch. I don't know if it was... If Michael Scott was Glinda's husband, spouse, son, father. I'm not sure.
There. Eventually, the people had enough of Lord Solis's reign of terror. They rose up in rebellion, determined to end his life once and for all. With no traditional weapon able to harm him, they turned to an ancient method. The local villagers dragged Sulis to the nearby...
So, the Tin Man, Jason, is almost like a Ship of Theseus-like character, right? The Tin Woodsman. Like, he's chopping wood and he chopped off his foot. So you replace that with a tin foot. And then he chopped off his arm. You replace that with a tin arm. And pretty soon the whole dude's replaced with tin parts. I think that's how the story goes with the Tin Man. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody who knows more about Oz lore than I do. You need to revisit the whole Vampirella thing. I do have more vampire stuff coming up on my OnlyFans. If you're interested in that, the link pops up periodically. It's the Spider Gwen. So if you really, if you're into that, I do cosplay mostly on my OnlyFans. So if you want to see me as, let's see, I got pirate, I got a vampire, I got a clown, got a mermaid. So there's been a few different things that I've done. So if you're into that, go check that out. But I should definitely do Scarlet Witch. The vampire was the most recent one though. The vampire will probably come back again in October. I may do like a monster mash with a few different costumes. Vampire and like a Frankenstein or Bride of Frankenstein look or something like that. We'll see. Anyway, off topic, plugging my adult content. Hi, if you're interested in that.
Stone circle of Ninstane Rig, where they executed him in the most gruesome way by boiling him alive in a cauldron of molten lead. While the legend paints a fantastical picture of dark magic and brutal revenge, history tells a different story. Lord Solis was indeed real, but rather than meeting a supernatural end, he was arrested for treason after plotting against King Robert the Bruce. He died in prison, far from the boiling cauldron of the legend. While the bloodthirsty Redcap of the borderlands is the most well-known version of this creature, variations of the legend exist across different regions. In some parts of Scotland, particularly in Perthshire, there's a surprising twist to the story. Instead of terrorising travellers, a local Redcap at Grantley Castle is said to bring good fortune to those who see him. This version of the Redcap is
Does he stain his hat with blood?
far cry from the vicious goblin we've come to know. Similarly...
Wait, I want to know more about that guy. How does he get his red cap? Does he go like the butcher shop and ask for a friendly donation?
Folklore of the borders mentions creatures that resemble redcaps, but with slightly different traits. The Dunter and the Powery, for instance, are spirits that haunt the same kinds of ruins. Rather than attacking their victims, they make ominous noises like grinding stones, and hearing these sounds is believed to be an omen of death or misfortune. These variations show how folklore evolves with time and place, each region adding its own spin to the myth. The legend of the Redcap is a chilling reminder of the rich and often terrifying folklore that has shaped the stories of the British Isles. Whether they are portrayed as violent goblins soaking their caps in blood, or as dark spirits haunting forgotten ruins, Redcaps represent the fear of the unknown and the danger.
Sean Bean does do some epic death scenes. He should play Dasuli in the movie. Sean Bean, that'd be perfect. He really would. I can't think of anybody who would be better at playing this Scottish sorcerer than sorcerer warrior, because he was also the Lord of the Border lands and tried to overthrow the. I mean, they could do a whole thing on it with Robert the Bruce and everything. Who would play? Who do you think would play Robin Redcap though, or Redcap Sly, whichever name you prefer?
That lurk in desolate places. Though reports of Redcap sightings have faded with time, their legend endures. But remember, these stories were more than just entertainment. They served as cautionary tales for those travelling alone through remote landscapes. And while the castles where Redcaps were said to live now lie in ruins, their sinister presence remains a part of local folklore.
I would love to go to Scotland and visit these castles on a foggy day. I'd probably have an orgasm. That'd be so freaking fantastic. Oh my gosh, and then to encounter a Redcap while I'm there. Ah!
So,
Nicolas Cage. Wow. Just wow.
The next time you find yourself near an
Andy Serkis with mocap? Yeah, I could see that. I could see Andy Serkis doing it in
ancient crumbling tower. Take care. Whether it's the echo of footsteps behind you...
I guess it'd be a voice actor, because they'd make that character CG. It wouldn't be actually live action. I would rather they did it like they did the Hobbits in Lord of the Rings. You're talking about Andy Serkis, but I'd rather they do it like the Hobbits for Robin Redcap, instead of making him a completely digital created character with mocap, to just be a person in practical effects, rendered diminutive in comparison to the other actors. Or they could do it like with like they did with the Leprechaun movies, but they could have like Peter Dinklage or something play Robin Redcap. That'd be kind of cool.
A distant flash of red in the shadows. The legend of the Redcap reminds us that some stories, no matter how old, still carry a sense of danger. After all, you never know what might be waiting in the darkness. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider liking this video and subscribing to The White Light. It really helps. Stay tuned for more stories like this in the near future. And check out our other videos if you have time. Until we meet again.
All right, check this out. This dude actually went there. It's like the 12th Sagittarian Outdoor Adventures or whatever. So this is his Halloween episode where he went to Hermitage Castle. Oh shoot, no, I can't do that. Hold on, it's 2.5 minutes, I think it was. Yeah, I can't have that music playing. He plays the whole Halloween song, the whole John Carpenter, the whole ding 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 ding, which is fun to play. I get it. He's not playing it himself though. He's like just playing a recording of it. If he was playing it himself, I'd probably let it play, because and homie's got the thickest accent.
Hi folks, Mickey here, and welcome to my Halloween special. Today we're in Scotland, and we're at Hermitage Castle.
Such a cool castle, and it's really good shape too. Look how good a shape it's in compared to a lot of castle ruins you see. It'd be so loud with the... What's going on with the music here, pal? I'm worried that this is going to be copyrighted, like tones and stuff. Maybe not. But that's one of my pet peeves about doing haunting videos and ghost videos and things like that. And this came up during the haunted tree video we did a couple of months back. It wasn't during Halloween time too, for that matter. But it calls back to that because there was a guy who did a video about a haunted tree in California, and if you put audio effects over your footage, I really start to doubt everything you're selling. If you put audio effects and visual effects over your footage, because I want to hear what you're hearing. I want to see what you're seeing as closely as possible. So please don't put, if you're a paranormal investigator making content, and you show footage of the location. If you're making fiction, that's one thing. If you're trying to say this is a real haunted place, and you start putting glitch effects on your cameras and stuff when you're walking around, why? I want to know what's really happening. I want to get to the bottom of it. I don't want to, I don't want you to delve into or to oversell the delusion. So the reason I say that is because there's a lot of sound effects going over this video of just like ambience of rocks grinding and things like that, and gongs. You can't build a castle in a swamp. Oh my gosh, I'm going to say, sorry, you said, because you said Shallow, it made me think of it. I just wanted to say, Chapel Roan is finally releasing an album with The Giver on it. The only place I know where to hear that, where you can hear that song, was on the SNL episode that she did. So it's got all the country music people so mad, all the country music chuds. It's hilarious. I just wanted to throw that out there. Just like Beyonce, like, oh, you're not real country. And I need to remind people that Chapel Roan is from the freaking Ozarks. She's from like southern Missouri, in the heart of the Ozarks. Oh no, she's not country. Whatever.
It was first built by Nicholas de Solis in 1242. And when you first started construction, it was actually made of wood.
If I had a wood castle, I wouldn't tell anybody. I'd be like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. It's made out of stone. And they get up and come and knock on it, of course. And they'd be like, it feels like wood. And I'd be embarrassed. But Dr. Tapioca Weasel, did you run out of stuff to smoke already? Is Dr. Tapioca Weasel in here? I didn't even see. I didn't have a weasel sighting. I'm glad to have a Maya sighting. Good morning, darling.
Now with the castle being so close to the borders, it was basically played a key role in the War of Independence in 1296.
Wow.
And as decades went,
what are you doing up this early? What are you doing here? Oh my gosh. I feel so honored though. Thank you for gracing us with your presence.
the castle changed hand several times. Now, William de Solis became Lord of Hermitage in 1318. And rumour has it that he wasn't a very nice person.
All right, I'll turn you up a little bit.
He dabbled in black magic and spells.
I'm going to be blunt with you, pal. I love dabbling in black magic and spells. It's sort of my bag. So bring it on.
De Solis would summon up his familiar friend, Robin Redcap. The Redcap is known as an evil goblin.
It's still there, dude.
Killing travelers and residents.
Dude, it's still in that castle. You better watch out. I don't know. That's Backup Maya. Backup Maya. I have other channels that sometimes I'll pop in. More often now, it's the transpositions that I'll accidentally pop in with and be like, hey, bzzz, and then I'll be like, oh, wrong account. But there's other accounts I have too. I have sock accounts. I have a toxic sock account, which I recommend anybody who does response content gets, because that way you can avoid having your main feed full of nonsense and have a place that's just nonsense, right? That you don't have to like pick between, your friends' videos and stuff you're actually interested in and the nonsense that you're trying to cover. You can just go to a toxic sock account that follows all the horrid channels and pick from the nonsense.
fresh blood stains on the Redcap's hat, because if the stains dried, the Redcap would die.
Aw, that one's kind of cute. I mean, the bloody sword's a little bit much, but the big nose and the big eyes, it's cute. Like the birdie looking beak.
William de Solis terrorised his neighbours. One day in 1320, he kidnapped a young Armstrong farm woman and tried to return to the castle with her. When her father tried to stop him, de Solis killed him on the spot. By now, a crowd had gathered and de Solis was on the verge of being lynched. Now, fortunate for William de Solis, he was rescued by Alexander Armstrong. He managed to calm the crowd.
Dude, your music is tight and it's on point, like I said, but I'm worried about copyrights, and the main reason I'm watching this one is not to hear you tell the story. I'm just kind of looking at your castle.
I told William de Solis to get to his castle. So to thank him, he invited Alexander here to the castle for a nice meal, just to thank him. But instead, when Alexander arrived, evil William de Solis stabbed him in the back.
I think a lot of you all know my toxic sock account, but I'm not going to say the name here because sometimes I'll pop into a side chat and troll with it. That castle is so badass. Like, have you ever seen such a, and maybe I'm like overselling it, but because of its age, I'm impressed with how well the castle is held up. And, you know, the architect who worked on it obviously knew what they were doing, but they put modern causeways and stuff to keep the navigation problems down. But there were probably wooden stairs inside here and wooden structures probably built in here too. What's this song? I'm kind of concerned about it. I'm gonna mute. Yeah, that's better. I'm just gonna mute it. Okay.
William de Solis was kidnapping the children from the village and murdering them. He was also using the blood in the expels.
That's some Elizabeth Bathory, or Ezerbet, I guess is the proper way to say her name. Ezerbet Bathory, lore right there. She actually did it though. She actually did it. It's, because Eastern Europeans were subject to a lot of Middle Age propaganda, in that region of the world, by both Western Europeans and the Turks. they were painted as cruel, bloodthirsty tyrants. So, you know, take it with it from what you will. Now, obviously, like someone like Vlad the Impaler, there is historical records of him doing the horrific acts of impaling people, impaling the enemies. With Ezerbet, there's less evidence, at least on the scale that they try to present it as. You'll hear quotes of like 600 girls that she's allegedly killed to bathe in their blood to retain her youth, right? And grant her immortality. But as far as confirmation that she actually did the thing, it's flimsy. Maybe we'll cover that sometime. I don't know how we'll tie that in unless somebody's got some conspiracies about it. I'll look into that because the Eastern European vampire conspiracy is pretty lit. But she ended up getting walled up inside of one of her chambers, one of her towers, I think it was, until she died. But apparently she was still very youthful looking. Yeah. But that's what this just the callback to this reminded me of when they're talking about kidnapping villagers and draining their blood. Yeah, Vlad of Wallachia. In the Carpathians.
Now, complaints start to arrive to the king. And have to listen to his latest, William de Solis' latest outrage.
That's why he has to drink blood, Sumami, to keep pumping through that thing.
He put his head in his hands, and said, Solis de Solis, go boil him in brew.
Getting this was the castle's prison. High status prisoners were held here with the relative luxuries of a latrine and a window. The lowdown. The floor below was a grim pit prison devoid of light, fresh air, or sanitation. Imprisonment there was reserved for the darkest crimes and the lowliest criminals. A life sentence in 1342, Alexander Ramsay of Dalhousie, a rival of Sir William Douglas, was starved to death at Hermitage. Legend tells that he survived a short while by eating grains that fell through the floorboards from the chamber above. That's pretty grim. That's a grim way to go. Nobody should starve to death. That's pretty rough. All right. We're going to mute again because this music, I don't have to cut out like 90% of the video because copyright strikes. That's so annoying. So annoying when that happens, but I don't know that this music is copyrighted or not because the guy used the Halloween theme song at the beginning for like a full 2 minutes. But this is the best video I've seen for covering the actual castle location.
Heard the king say, de Solis go boil him in brew. They overpowered William de Solis and carried him to a place not far from here called the Nine Stains, or the Nine Stains Rig. And there, they wrapped him up in lead, put him in a big copper pot and spent it over a fire, and boiled him to death. Now, when the king heard what the villagers had done, he jumped on his horse to go and rescue him. But by then, it was too late. William de Solis was gagging on his own broth.
Being boiled alive would be a hell of a way to go. Alright, mute it again. And I'm going to speed this up so we can get through most of the castle. Yeah, having it silent like this is kind of eerie too, but look how green that grass is. I don't know if they've turned up the contrast to make the castle pop, but let's see. Hermitage Castle has not always been the imposing fortress you see today. It developed over years with the changing tastes and needs of the residents. Yeah, it looks pretty imposing and strong. Nigh impregnable is the term. Ooh, oh God, those are beautiful. Old winding moss-covered stone stairs. Oh, I'm in love. I love all the moss on this. Just the moss in general all over the place is freaking in lichen. Yeah, I shouldn't just assume it's moss. It's probably lichen. Which includes moss, but I digress. What's this hole here? Is he talking about it or just playing music? It's Still playing music. Okay. I'll wait until he starts talking. Alright, until we get a look at the sign. The well. Alright. The Douglas family changes to Hermitage Castle in 1370. Included the addition of this tower and its well. Stuff of life. Water is the lifeblood of a castle. Without it, its occupants could not withstand siege and would be forced to surrender. Only 2 wells. There was already a well in the castle when the new one was installed. You can still see it today near the center of the castle. However, this one was dropped deeper and with greater capacity. Times were becoming more and more troubled. War with England was coming, and the inhabitants of Hermitage Castle were preparing for a long siege. Okay.
And not so long ago, the castle was in need repair. So workmen were drafted in to do some repairs. And even they said they kept on seeing faces appearing, or shadows, in the arches of windows.
People seeing ghosts. There we go. That's what I was
They
looking
also
for.
said that you can hear the little boys, the cries of William de Solis' victims.
Yeah, but that's artificial. You're doing that. You're faking that. Not real. That castle is so cool looking though. I just can't get over it. I love the peaks.
Now the only romance that this castle is saying is when James Hepburn was injured in battle. That was in 1566. And Mary, Queen of Scots, raced to his bedside by horse with a small guarded unit. But with Mary being already married, she couldn't be seen here. So she only stopped 2 hours then left. But the seer, Mary herself, Queen of Scots, haunts these grounds.
Mary, Queen of Scots. Bloody Mary haunts these grounds too. So you got a Redcap and Bloody Mary. So I suppose that checks out that they would both, because Bloody Mary could supply the blood for the Redcap. Of course. I like that music too, but I'm turning it down. Just because I don't know about copyrights. Gonna talk?
Now we're heading to the chapel. And this is the chapel, folks.
It's a squeaky gate. You need to bring some WD-40 down and lube it up. Lube your chapel gates, people. Lube your chapel gates, or they will squeak when handsome Scottishmen open the door. Or open the gate. And there's Robin Redcap on that, too. Ooh, that's pretty, too.
Age 28 years old. James. 29. Died suddenly. 29. 1772. Age 28 years.
That's not that old.
1772.
Well, I mean, it is pretty old, but like in the UK, I expect like 1172 or something. I don't know. Yeah, I have. So here's the thing about Pantera. I have. How do I say this? I have mixed feelings about Pantera because if you don't know, now you do. Phil Anselmo is a white supremacist, white nationalist. So, I mean, do with that what you will. Do with that what you will. Just, I mean, I'm not trying to say, oh, you can't like Pantera now because Phil's awful, but I stopped listening to Pantera. It's been about 10 years. But Cemetery Gates before that was my favorite Pantera song.
Agnes, house. 37 years. 1806.
But actually, I say Cemetery Gates was my favorite song. Actually, This Love was probably my favorite, and then Cemetery Gates. But they're on the same album, right? Cowboys from Hell, I think. It's been a long time. Yeah. Well, this is 9 years ago. So, at the time that he'd made this is probably pretty top-notch podcaster on the scene.
Hermitage Castle.
Tech.
Absolutely amazing building. To think that many years, the architecture and things like that, you know. But it's not just that, it's the feelings you get when you're inside it.
We're going to actually, we're done here. We're going to go to Hermitage Castle ourselves in the sunshine and look and see if we can't see Robin Redcap anywhere. There's a picnic table. That's where he has his lunch break. Does it let us zoom out? Hell yeah. Oh man, we're way up high. We can't get down too close, can we? There should be some pictures like up and around it though. Let's see. Here's standing in the middle. Oh no, I guess we're not seeing the middle. This is like a drone. Nice. Oh, this could be an airplane. Looks like drone footage though. Look how nice that castle looks. And you can see a lot of the lichen and moss. I think this up here would just be moss. It's the same kind of stuff that's growing on the ground cover, really. What a beautiful castle. Here's our picnic table we were talking about earlier. Is the chapel close by? I know the chapel's just got ruins now, but I don't see it anywhere. This house over here looks almost as old, though. The chapel ruins. Where are the chapel ruins? Oh, man, it has a big old courtyard wall, too. Look how huge that is. It goes all the way into the woods there. Is that the chapel down there, maybe? I can't tell. It looked like you had to walk a little bit of ways to get there, though, so I don't think it's like right next to it or anything. It's a little footbridge across the creek. Yes, I said creek. I'm from Missouri, damn it. Of course I'm going to say creek. Let's see. Let me catch up with the... I liked vulgar display of power. Yeah. That's a quote from The Exorcist. Everyone remember when I die, I want my gravestone to be a urinal. Let's see. Same Brie, mine was stronger than all. My ancestors' original castle got the Atlantis treatment to make a reservoir, but we did have a few others over the centuries. That's sad, though. I guess there's a lot of townships and cities under lakes and reservoirs. 1100s. I don't even think there's that. I wish I can be wishful thinking. Lots of castles and manors got turned into quarry sites. Ember, one of my mother's grandfather's manor is a grade 2 home, but in the center of a quarry. If Robin is a Redcap, what is Batman? Maybe Quetzal, or yeah, not Quetzalcoatlus. Camazotz, the Bat God. We did a video on him too. Is Robin here? I don't know. The bombing in World War II, so many listed buildings were damaged, and that's in Germany and the UK, all across Europe, really. A lot of classic architecture was built. To be honest with you, I wasn't too sad to see Notre Dame catch fire some years back, because, you know, the Catholics deserve all the grief they can get at this point. But I'm rambling now, so it probably means that Cryptic Corner is coming to an end with talking about red caps. Let's see, we got any? Oh, here's the ruins. Here we go. Here's the chapel ruins. Okay, that's more sensible. So it's down this way. I was looking the wrong way. I was looking up creek. There's the Hermitage water. It's like the Bywater from the Hobbiton. All right. Well, that was Cryptic Corner for this morning, talking about the nefarious Redcaps of Scotland, Robin Redcap, or Redcap Sly in particular, whichever name you prefer to call the little creep. He was a servant of Scottish Lord Desuli or Desulis. I don't know the guy. Did we watch the video? He said you heard it. He said on both ways, but he was a servant, and he gave him like immortality against arrows and weapons, but he didn't give him immortality against getting boiled alive, which is what happened to him. But Redcaps being a border spirit is kind of an interesting concept, symbolically speaking, especially the fact that they exist mostly just on the Scottish side, or what was the Scottish side at the time. Makes it a super interesting study in cultural demonization, because the people in Scotland still practice more of the traditional practices of the natives of the UK, right? Like of the Celtic traditions of their past, of their ancestry, than did people in southern England, which was definitely more Romanized and then Angelized and Saxonized and everything in between. North of the wall, Scotland was able to hold on to more of its traditions. So the fact that they had all this fairy lore up in Scotland, well, when you're trying to demonize the people of Scotland during a war with Scotland to create stories about them being bloodthirsty and having goblin servants that give them magic powers and stuff, is going to go a long way to get your people rallied against them and saying, yeah, we need to take back Scotland from these heathens. Oh no, Bugbot's on us getting sting crazy out there. All right. Please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time.